Alrighty, we're getting ready to do a cold air intake install on an LS400. We've got a 98 year model here, provided by a customer of ours named Ethan. He just recently moved to this area, so we told him we'd install his intake for free. So we're just gonna kind of run you through the install process. So let's get started. Okay, we got the old intake off. We need to remove this headlight. There's a seal back here that we always suggest to remove because it allows more airflow in through here to actually get a cold intake charge. You can see the seal is in here behind the headlight. And you don't have to remove this, but we found a huge temperature decrease, especially at freeway speeds, because more air is allowed to enter through here. We also need to transfer the mass airflow sensor from the old intake to the new one. And then the other piece of the puzzle is this little, we're gonna reuse this air diverter shield. We just need to drill out these two rivets here and install the little block off plate that we provide. So that way this will clear the intake tube and you can still utilize the fresh air scoop from the top of the radiator support. Alrighty, on our newer style intakes, this is version 2, we swapped to a different style flange, and this one actually comes with its own dedicated O-ring and two 10mm bolts, so you don't have to transfer any of that over from your old intake. Heat shield goes down in here, tucks in there. It just kind of rests in place, and it's a friction fit. Like once you get the intake tube stabbed through and the filter and all that, it'll hold itself in place, and then all these seals butt up against like the radiator. This will butt up against the hood, and this will keep hot air from saturating the filter. So we got the filter on and tight. That rests right in there, and as I was saying, it's kind of a friction fit, so it holds this in place, butts it up against the radiator. Plug your mass airflow in. One of the hoses from the power steering little vacuum solenoid, you have to release it from its retention there, and to give it a little bit more slack, and then it attaches up here. And then you've got your PCV hose, which is the smaller of the two hoses that come with the kit, and then the longer hose is actually your fresh air source for your evap purge valve. And there's a little bead that's on this tube. Slide this hose all the way over the bead and then put a clamp on it. And then that's it. One other thing to pay attention to is right over here, you need to get this in as far as it'll go, because if not, what'll happen is you may hear the fan hitting the intake tube and it'll rattle. Then you can put your engine cover back on, and then we'll move on to putting the air diverter shield back on. You do want to do is this will have a little O-ring on it that goes inside. There's a little notch that goes inside this. You want to retain that O-ring because if not, you will get a little bit of hot air from the radiator that'll seep in here. So put that seal back in its place, and then you're going to add this shield on top and a couple of sheets of metal screws that we provide. Just screw it in place, and it'll hold it tight against that and keep hot air from entering through there, and then you get a true fresh air source from the radiator support. And then we're just going to put the air diverter panel right back in. Alright, now that everything's nice and tucked in, fit and finish, with the headlight seal removed and with the air diverter panel retained, you know, when you shut the hood, everything's going to line up like factory. We actually, in the Texas heat, 110 degrees, we're maybe seeing 10 degrees above ambient temperature on the intake temp sensor reading. I data logged this thing for 3 weeks straight before I released it on the website. You know, also you get that awesome sound, and you get a little bit more mid-range to upper end power. Let's hear it run. Let's get a sound clip from inside the car so you can kind of get an idea of what this thing's going to sound like. And this car is otherwise 100% stock. See, it still has that nice quiet ride. When you get on it, you get a little bit more induction noise.